Bubbly, spirited, cheerful, and full of life, this small-town girl from East Rennell, West Virginia knows the secret to living life to the fullest, by doing that which makes you happy. This is the story of Hazel Shriver. In January 1920, Lysina and James Huggart brought home their first baby girl, Hazel. It was an industrious time for the residents of East Rennell, when the introduction of new, fancy ice-making gadgets and electronic gizmos arrived in the Huggart household. Hazel's grandfather was a wise entrepreneur who purchased most of the land in East Rennell and opened the first grocery, dry goods, and feed store to accommodate the growing population of mill workers. Eventually, Hazel's grandfather handed the business to her father, James, and Uncle Roy. James, with a few other businessmen, bought and formed an electric company in order to supply the town with power. Hazel's family was the first to receive electricity in their home, and it wasn't long before the Huggarts had the first washing machine, refrigerator, and electric radio. Questions as to how a machine could make such small cubes of ice kept the residents of East Rennell scratching their heads. Hazel was a very happy-go-lucky teenager who enjoyed hanging around the local drugstore and dancing to the music played from the jukebox. At 17, she graduated from the Rennell High School. One day, during high school, Hazel was slipped a note from a good-looking 18-year-old boy who asked if he could take her to the movies. His name was Iverson Ike Shriver. The two had been together ever since. Ike and Hazel married in 1937. However, the newlyweds were soon parted. Ike was drafted and served in the United States Navy during World War II. During high school, Ike found employment with the C&O Railroad and returned there after the war. It wasn't long before the railroad had the Shavers packing their belongings and transferred to Huntington, West Virginia. Ike Shriver remained an employee with the railroad for 42 years. Together, Hazel and Ike raised their 4 children, Joyce, Linda, Susan, and Bud. With 4 active children running around, Hazel became known as the "What's for Supper Mom" by the neighborhood kids who always hung out and played around her home. Ike and Hazel worked together to see each one of their children graduate from college. After retirement, Hazel and Ike moved to Fort Mill, South Carolina to live near their son, Bud. Iverson Ike Shriver passed away in 2003. During their 66 years together, the couple enjoyed bowling and at one time belonged to the Huntington and Fort Mill golf clubs, playing as much as 4 or 5 times a week. As enthusiastic outdoorsmen, Hazel and Ike loved to bow hunt for deer, explore the forest for rare and beautiful wildflowers, as well as go fishing and canoeing throughout the West Virginia mountains. Hazel remains remarkably full of life and spirited at 88, as she continues to carry on with their family tradition of gathering at their cottage located in Greenbrier River, West Virginia. She has 12 grandchildren, 24 great-grandchildren, and 5 great-great-grandchildren. Today, she's active in plays and in charge of calling out the bingo numbers in the community where she resides in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Hazel Huggart Shriver, living life to the fullest.